Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Steve Taylor's Community Connection. My far left, superstar Terry Crosby. And it's my honor to introduce Katie Gilliland. Yes. Did I get all the syllables?
You did.
All right. Who's the owner, proprietor of a great bookstore in Sylvania, across from Chandler's, called Finch Fern. And I tell you, when I go in there, Katie, it reminds me of a New England style bookstore. I don't know if you've ever thought of it.
You know, I've never been to New England.
Yeah,
so...
it has that feel to it, New England style bookstore, but it's really cool. You know, the way you laid it out is, I think, very different than most of the bookstores I've been in. So give me your philosophy of how you laid it out.
My philosophy, because I pride myself on being as warm and nurturing as I possibly can.
And that's what it is. That's what I was kind of getting to.
I wanted it to feel more so like you're walking into a friend's house.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
when you walk in the door, you're actually walking into like kind of a living room. There's comfy chairs and there's tables and there's a spot for you to sit and just hang out with a book. You can grab a cup of coffee across the street or a few doors down from Aaron Ann's. You can get cookies or donuts from the bakery. And browse books and just sit and read or chat or whatever.
That is the feel. That is exactly. You said it much better than I did. That is exactly when you open the door and you walk in. It's like you're in somebody's very cool living room with a lot of books. Is what it looks like. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Has it been fun for you?
It has been very fun for me. I have been a voracious reader my whole life.
Oh, wow.
And so I love talking about books, especially ones that I love and I can't shut up about because, because that's my thing. Humans in general are storytellers, and so sharing your story with the world takes a lot of courage.
100%.
Absolutely.
No matter whether you're writing fact or fiction, you are putting a piece of yourself into what you write.
Yeah.
And so sharing those stories is very vulnerable.
Yes.
And so I do my best to, promote stories that people are going to resonate with.
Right.
And you made a very, very valid point there. You really, really did. And I really believe that a lot of authors who write, specifically in my case, I became an author because I wanted to really tell the world a little bit more about me, and I was very, very authentic and truthful in my book. Because I figured that at some point I'm not going to be here on this earth, but my book still is.
You're leaving a piece of yourself in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is kind of what spurred me on and encouraged me,
Probably scared you a lot too.
It did scare me, because I'm thinking, oh my God, do I put this in? Do I leave it out? You know what I mean? It was one of those situations. But so I would say as an author, I think it's one of those things where it's not easy, and I'm sure as a book proprietor owner, I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Cross, off of that, and KG, you'll certainly get this. When somebody gets what you try to convey, right? Not everybody gets it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, why'd you write this? What the heck's going on? But when somebody truly gets what you've written and they respond to you, whether it's an email or they see you in person or whatever, boy, that is like a standing ovation.
Absolutely.
It's a unique feeling.
Yes.
Hey, okay, they got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that makes you feel good.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a conversation every day about why did you name your book what you named it?
Yeah.
But then when I explain it to them, they get it then.
I understand.
It resonates.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
KG, what's hot in your bookstore now?
Well, romance is a really, really big genre, and I feel like it's, even though people think that they're predictable and they're fluffy and they're spicy, as we like to say now, I think that those stories really either resonate with women, or those stories kind of help us see things that we might not have otherwise seen.
Right.
Realize things about our relationships.
Sure.
With, romantic relationships or familial ones or otherwise. So romance is a really big genre right now, and there's uncertainty around all kinds of genres because of the current political environment. So, those kinds of stories are, possibly.
Is it the old Calgon bath soap thing? Remember the commercials?
Calgon, take me
You
away.
take me away. Calgon, take me
I
away.
remember that.
I mean, sometimes I think you feel like that. By the time you're inundated with all this media and people screaming at one another.
Yeah, it's an escapism.
And the hate and the vitriol and oh my God, stop.
Call it a coping mechanism
Yes.
or escapism
Yes.
or whatever, but I tend to read, I like rom-coms because they are predictable.
Right.
But it's a comforting kind of predictable.
Yeah,
I read it
absolutely.
between all of the other intense things that I like to read.
There's a balance, right?
Yeah, there is. I read a lot of true crime, so you need some levity in between stories like that.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. So as a business owner, I wanted to ask you, what are you really passionate about in regards to being a business owner? And then when you answer that, I want you to let us know some of the challenges
Well,
as a business owner.
the passion for me is that it was my dream to own my own bookstore.
Okay.
I worked in
How long have you
corporate.
been there now?
We're a year and a half.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I worked in corporate bookstores for almost a decade.
Okay.
And I just kind of learned from what my customers were saying there, what they wished that they were getting from a bookstore
right.
in the area. And, Denise has Gathering Volumes down in Perrysburg,
Right.
but for a lot of people, in Sylvania or just over the border in Michigan,
Right.
it's not feasible to drive down to Perrysburg on a regular
Right,
basis. So
right.
filling that kind of void and, just as an example, during COVID,
Oh, yeah.
Barnes & Noble got rid of all the seating in
It
the
was
store.
terrible. That was terrible.
And people, that was their biggest complaint. There's nowhere for me to sit
Yeah,
down and
no,
chill
that's
out
terrible.
and read a book.
Yeah.
And so it was
Wow.
okay, I can fill that void easy. The other big thing was indie authors, local authors,
Yeah.
who there was a whole process for them to go through when they're trying to get their book into one of these big box bookstores.
Right.
And, again, with that piece of, you're
Right.
putting a piece of yourself out into the universe and you want to share that with people, but you're having a hard time sharing that with
Right.
people. Putting that into my bookstore was a really big goal for me. I carry,
Nice.
I think I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of 60, mostly Toledo area authors, actually.
Beautiful.
How great is
Beautiful.
that? That's great.
But
Yes.
I also go, with authors from Michigan or
Sure.
Indiana or anywhere in Ohio.
Right,
So
right.
How grateful are these folks?
I mean,
They got to be pretty
just
grateful.
as a general rule, they're really pumped that they don't
Yeah.
have to work so hard
Right.
to get
Somebody
it
will
into
take
the
my
store.
book and
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that's my passion, is me owning this bookstore was
Right.
my dream, and I can help other people live their dream by
That's beautiful.
sharing their books with
Right,
people.
right.
And I do try and read as many of these books as I can.
And
although that can be
KG, you
a
never
struggle.
know the book that you've shared from an author. Gosh, I wish I could remember the fellow's name, but I know it's true. Young man had written a book, and he had never done anything before. And he had written his whole life, but he did this book, and he unfortunately passed away. He had cancer. He died at 25 or 26, and his mom took it on. She was a single parent. She took on his book as this is going to be her cause. She couldn't get any bookstore to put his book in the bookstore. No, everyone turned it down.
Mhm.
She went door to door across the United States, sold his book, and ended up winning the Pulitzer Prize.
Wow.
amazing.
So,
Yes. you just
people
said
that are critics about books a lot of times don't, they don't really know what they're evaluating sometimes,
right.
and
Right.
what's going to resonate with one
Mhm.
person might not
That is so
resonate with
true.
the
Well, and
other.
also being self-published or being
Yeah.
picked up by a small
Yes.
publisher,
Yes,
that doesn't mean that your story isn't a story that's
100%,
worth being
Katie.
told.
That it's not quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are people who have written books, they've self-published, and they've pushed it and pushed it and pushed it, and they end up getting picked up by one of the big publishers because their story gets so much attention
Yes.
that the big publishers get interested. So it's all, it's all going for
It's
people.
so unique that you said that, Katie, because, and I'm not saying this in a braggadocio way, but at all, but I got invited to the LA Times Book Festival at Southern Cal. I looked, and they went through my book, and they went through every element of the book. It's about why it would work, why
Right.
it would. I
Right.
mean,
Mhm.
they knew it
It's
inside.
exciting.
They knew it inside and out.
Right, right.
And like I said, they get 160,000 people. They showed films from previous years. It was unbelievable. But just the fact that somebody got out there, and it wouldn't have happened without Denise and you,
Right.
you know, allowing me to get a book in there. That's kind of an exciting thing, you know, just being a local smoko from nowhere, you know, that you get that opportunity. If you want that opportunity, would have never happened without getting it in our local bookstores. So you're lifting authors constantly.
I do my best.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And I want you to know, I'll definitely, now don't get intimidated when you see me three or four times a week, because you have a donut shop right next to you, right?
Very good donuts, very good cookies.
You'll say, there's Mr. Crosby again.
No, your bookstore is cool. You'll love her bookstore.
Right, I'm gonna have to go.
You had the best descriptor, Katie. It is like, when you open the door, you look straight through, and it's a straight through kind of store, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it is like being in somebody's very nice living room, cozy with all the books on the different shelves, and then like you think there's a fire in the fireplace, and you know, it is that kind of look, and it's pretty cool. You should be proud of that. It's very cool.
I do a lot of events too.
Okay.
Like I have events every Saturday coming up.
You and Denise should team up on things.
We should. We absolutely should. But like last year, I did over 60 author events.
Oh, wow.
Between local authors and then some of the ones that I partnered with other organizations, like I did with you.
Right.
Which I thank you so very much. That was wonderful.
It was great. So I enjoy doing those events.
How grateful are those authors when you create events for them?
Oh, I mean, it goes
It's a
pretty
big
well.
it's a big deal to them, right? Yeah. It's a big deal. Well, you know, it's amazing the difference you're making, and you're developing culture and art in our community.
And that's the goal. We want to make books more accessible to more people.
That's really what you're doing. So you should really be commended for that,
Thank
Katie.
you.
And if you see Cross and I in your store, just throw us out.
I'll be there.
We're used to getting thrown out of places. You know, the thing about it, Katie, we don't hold a grudge. We'll be back the next day and you'll have to throw us out again. You know, we don't hold a grudge, Katie.
And I will bring you some donuts.
There you go.
You know what? I'm going to do that. I like glazed. Those
Glazed,
okay. Well,
glazed in.
let me know, right?
Do you want to did we give the address, Katie?
Not yet. 5641 Main Street in Sylvania.
Across from Chandler's, everybody knows Chandler's.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of challenge right now because we are starting road construction.
Oh,
They're doing a beautification project on Main Street. So watch for the detour signs, but there's parking in the back.
But I stopped and saw you, and I was able to park in there, okay?
Yeah. But there's parking in the back of the building. I do have a back door.
Okay,
so
got it.
You can come in. I share a back door with the Hudson Gallery, actually.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that part of Sylvania is a very cool place.
It's pretty,
it's really neat. It's very walkable for now.
And a nice summer day.
It's pretty easy to get to, too.
Yeah.
It's just off the
it's just off Monroe Street.
Yeah.
So.
And we're going to hold you to you and Denise doing something together as far as books. I think that would be.
Well, we are both going to be at
the Teen Book Fest?
The inaugural Pages of Glass Book Festival coming up in August at the Lucas County Fairgrounds.
But
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
These are two very bright women. You know, the power of the mind and the books. I think we can do something here.
Absolutely.
So you two ought to go to coffee or talk. I think there's something to be done there.
I could definitely glean some good insight from Denise because she's been doing this longer than I have. So.
And I want you to get ready for these 12 donuts. I'm gonna these 12 glazed I'm getting ready to bring us. And you're going to do 6 and I'll do 6.
Okay, fair.
Cross, I don't know. We may have to get the scale out.
I'll skip breakfast.
You may want to get that scale out, Cross.
Don't eat to that night before.
Well, thank you, Katie. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Tom Cole, the coach for Steve Taylor Community Connection.